This is The Alternative Edge, home of KBVU podcasts.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Let's get positive. How's it going, everyone? I'm Joshua Tigas, and thank you for listening to The Positive Point, a podcast where I try to shed some light into your world. I'm really excited about this episode because I get to chat with a really close friend of mine and talk about something that I have absolutely loved ever since I was a little boy. Nature. If any of you know me personally, you know that I love to hunt and go on hikes, and even test my skills with outdoor photography. For as long as I can remember, I have always been playing in the mud and enjoying this magnificent creation that God has allowed us to live in. And that's true for this episode's guest as well. Paige is a really close friend of mine who I didn't really get the chance to know closely until senior year of high school when we did an internship together. But we'll get into that later on. But the outdoor and betterment of the natural world we're living in is always at the forefront of her mind, and I love that about her. Over the past couple of years, we've been making countless memories outside, and that's what this episode's all about, showing you how wonderful the wilderness is around us, and what it has to provide. So without further ado, allow yourself to escape from your life for a little while, and enjoy this episode with Paige. Episode 6 of season 2, here we are. And Paige, thank you so much for agreeing to come on to this episode.
Oh, you're so welcome.
So to give people a little bit of a background, Paige and I have actually been pretty close friends for a long time now because of our participation in the fine arts and especially band. But we really didn't get really close and connect until fall of our senior year. Is that right, Paige?
Yeah.
Yeah, so fall of our senior year, Paige and I actually took a course together at our local community college, which was basically just an internship program. And we went out to White Rock Conservancy, which is in Coon Rapids here in Iowa. And we did a bunch of different things. And that fits directly into the theme of this episode today, which is just getting outside, enjoying nature, and putting yourself out in that world to escape from everything else. So at White Rock Conservancy, Paige and I did a bunch of different things that are basically all with the maintenance side of things, with preparing for controlled burns. And there were some really cold days out there, but honestly, I don't think I'd have it any other way, because simply just being out in nature, just at least for me anyways, I don't know if this is the same for you, Paige, but just being out in nature gives me just this overwhelming calming sense and makes me feel like I'm smaller and part of a bigger picture.
Oh, absolutely. I honestly could never do a job inside. So having that opportunity to be able to work outside was definitely a great experience, pointing me in the right direction. Honestly, there's nothing like hard work that would bring two people together. We did some odd jobs.
Yeah, that's for sure. But through all of that, like you said, it kind of gives us this new appreciation for the world we live in. And yeah, like you said, I don't know if I could do a job just strictly in an office. I know I have to be outside doing something sometime. But you said that you wouldn't be able to do one of those types of jobs. So what are you actually studying in college, and what do you hope to do or hope to become someday?
My college journey has been a little bit of a roller coaster so far. I was at Northwest Missouri State University, as at least you know, and I was studying marine biology. I have such a love for everything aquatic. I think it's just so fascinating. The ocean is definitely one of the largest resources we have, and I'm just so interested in being able to learn and protect it. But sadly, Northwest just was not for me. And so I'm now at Iowa State. I'm a biology major here, which was a little bit of a major change, but I'm still hoping to have an emphasis on any marine classes I can take here. But I think biology will just be better for me in the long run. It's just a more generalized degree. And I think I'm able to do more with my talents within the field of conservation, which is the field that I ironically want to head into. Through zoo and educational programs, I think I could really educate. I'm just a very social person, so being able to make a change through something as fun and memorable as like a zoo visit is really something that sparked my interest.
Absolutely. I love that. Now, we live here in Iowa in the middle of like endless farmland, and there's not an ocean or like really a significantly big body of water anywhere close to us, especially where we live. So I'm interested, how did you actually get that passion for the aquatic side of things and the marine biology?
Honestly, I think not having access to an ocean or a large body of water was a really big thing because I realized there's so much to the world than just Iowa. And I have a huge appreciation for Iowa. What we do here is very important, especially the farming we do here. We feed a majority of the US, and it's amazing. But just for me wanting to get out of my roots and fly and just to see where the world takes me is just so much more interesting than staying put in Iowa. And so that's how I really started to appreciate a lot of the things that I don't have access to.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I never thought of it that way, how it's the stuff that we don't have access to, which can actually stem that interest. But that's really cool on your side of things. And then also, like growing up, I'm sure you were pretty involved in the outdoors, but like just how much were you outside when you were a little kid running around?
Actually, I was a pretty big germaphobe for a good chunk of my younger years. I didn't actually enjoy going outside too much, which I definitely feel like I missed out on a lot because of that, which was definitely an interesting turn when I did start to find my interest in the outdoors. I definitely don't think it was something a lot of people saw coming from me, especially when I had to wash my hands 5 times after touching dirt. So, I mean, the most I remember is definitely being outside at the lake house. My grandparents have a lake house, and I'm very grateful that I had the opportunity to be able to spend summers there. We had a creek to the right of our lake house, and it was definitely something that I didn't think I would ever hop in, you know. It was really muddy, gross. It was one of those really nasty little creeks. But jumping in with all the cousins was always so fun. And you could definitely see so many wildlife. I mean, the amount of damselflies and dragonflies and frogs that you'd see were insane. And sadly, probably about like 5 or 6 years ago, that creek was filled in. And thinking about it now, I definitely realize how much of a loss of a wildlife habitat that was. And I think that really helped spark my interest in there as well, just because we took away so much from frogs and damselflies. Sure, they live on like the side of the lake now, you know, but just how beneficial that was and just how fun it was.
Yeah, you mentioned just simply having fun with cousins or friends outdoors. And I think that's where some of the greatest memories come from. Because yes, we can make memories with friends like playing video games together, but actually going outside and, like you said, just playing in the lake. I know for me, that's where some of my best memories have come from. And I look forward to doing that every summer.
Oh yeah, for sure. Not being able to go up to the lake house last summer due to COVID was definitely a game changer. I didn't realize how much of a blessing being able to go up to the lake house was just to spend a few days away, especially in the summer, and having being able to bring friends up there. It's just it was so nice. So hopefully this year opens things up a little bit because I think at this point we could all use a really nice weekend with some friends at a lake house, you know?
I couldn't agree more. But you mentioned that just getting away aspect, and that's really the whole point of this episode is with the outdoors to use it as an escape. So with if anyone knows me personally, you know that I just absolutely love hunting, especially bow hunting. And when I first got into hunting, that's when I first recognized how peaceful but yet beautiful the wilderness is. Because especially with bow hunting, you go out before the sun rises and you're sitting in a tree sometimes all day. So one of the things that I really relish about that is you get to see nature wake up and then nature naturally go to bed. You just get to see deer and birds and all the little critters go about their day naturally without a worry in the world. And to me, that's just so peaceful because it makes me recognize that we're part of a bigger ecosystem, and we just have to take that chance to step back and realize that sometimes.
100%. I don't think people realize how big nature is and just how balanced everything is without human intervention. They have like a whole little city over there and we don't even know. Like we can't even begin to comprehend half of the stuff that goes down every day in the forest just to make it go. And it's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that my dad really tried to emphasize with me when I first got into hunting was
how it's not so much about the kill, it's the experience and the adventure itself. And that is just so true. Like any hunter that I've talked to, like while getting a kill and getting like a prize trophy is great and everything, it's more of just the adventure itself, whether it's here in Iowa sitting in the timber or going out to Colorado elk hunting and walking the mountains. It's just there's so many opportunities out in the wilderness for us. And I would just love people to take that opportunity more, because as our world has become more digitalized, I think we've got trapped to just sit behind our computers and entertain ourselves that way.
Definitely, I totally agree with you there. Especially with online classes now, it's so hard to even want to leave my dorm. And it doesn't help that the weather's been a bit colder. But when we had like last week, I don't know if this it's March 16th now. So last week we had that beautiful spring weather, and I just felt so much more motivated to finish my classwork after just taking a walk around campus for 20 minutes, like a nice breather. And it was definitely different from my everyday routine, because my everyday routine would be sitting in my dorm and then going downstairs to eat and then coming back up.
Yeah, like you said, we are recording this quite a bit earlier than when it's going to be released. It is actually March 16th right now. But here in Iowa, we did have that kind of first initial taste of spring the previous week. And that, like you said, that was amazing, because I agree with you too. I did get that extra boost of motivation to just continue to stay at it with my classwork and everything. But then right now we have our second winter coming through, and I think we got a good 5 to 6 inches on the ground right now of snow, and it's snowing some more. But when this episode is released, I'm assuming it's going to be a lot nicer spring weather. So that's where I want to emphasize what you said, was to go on walks and take that time to soak up the landscape and get that overwhelming sense of peace. Because like you said, it just helps motivate you, and then it just gives you a much better feeling. To me, it's really hard to explain, because last week I felt that too when I went on walks. It just gave me that extra boost to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, like sleep recharges our batteries, but there's a chunk of that where we just can't. We have to go outside and just recharge our nature battery, if that makes sense. I mean, spending 15 minutes in the sun is proven to boost your spirits and morale by so much. So I like thinking about going on nature walks as a recharging my batteries kind of thing.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more, because I love to do that as well. The thing with nature is there's so many hidden gems all around us. We just have to go out and find it. So oftentimes I think people get the misconception that, oh, this area around me isn't that nice, that we have to go out to Colorado to see the mountains or down to the Grand Canyon or something. But really, in reality, if you just go out and wander through the woods, you're going to see some spectacular things.
Oh, absolutely. Especially come this spring, we'll see a lot of birds migrating through. And it's a great season for birding normally in the spring. We get a little bit in the fall as they're migrating to the warmer areas, but it'll definitely be one to see. Especially since we've all been a little bit quarantined. I feel like nature's had a chance to even recharge her batteries. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the warmer weather will bring.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this all goes back to what I talked about in season one, with how every person needs a way to escape in their life. And for me, there's no better escape than simply going on a walk through nature or on a hike. Because yes, watching Netflix is nice, it is entertaining, and binging an entire TV show in one week is entertaining and everything. But after so long, that's just gonna, to some extent, wear you out even more. And it's not going to be around all the time. Like I said, that show is going to end and stuff, but nature is always going to be around us. And the beautiful thing is that it's always changing between seasons, and then just the simply the different landscapes always changing.
Yeah, yep. Can't I just finished talking about Netflix. I just finished a series. I binged it pretty hard. And it didn't really fulfill me as much as I thought it was going to. It was a great show, don't get me wrong, but then when it's done, you just think, what's next? Because you don't have another season to watch. But I've never felt that taking a walk. I'm always so excited for my next walk. Like, when can I do this? Not what do I do now? I always appreciate, because I definitely think you need both sides. You need more than one hobby. So watching Netflix is nice, but I'd take a walk over watching Netflix any day. Or I've really picked up hammocking since coming here. And just being able to lay outside for a little bit, I would definitely be watching 3 episodes in a Netflix show.
But yeah, this kind of wraps everything into one how with what we all talked about today, with just simply getting out into nature. And that's what I want to bring in the present person with, is to just simply soak up the sunshine that's around us, go out and experience the beauty that God has put around us, and just go immerse yourself in it. Because like I've mentioned multiple times, it will give you an overwhelming, calming sense and just recharge your battery. So, Paige, before we wrap up quick, I have to kind of throw you on the spot here. So, what is your favorite quote?
My favorite quote is, "For most of history, man has had to fight nature to survive. In this century, he's beginning to realize that in order to survive, he must protect it." And the quote is, he has a French name, so if I say his name, I will butcher it. But if you Google that quote, I'm sure that you'll be able to find who said it if you'd really like to.
I just love that quote because it brings everything into one that we've talked about today, with how now people are starting to realize how beautiful nature is and going out and, like you said, with conservation to go save it.
It's a huge quote that I absolutely adore, especially since that's the field I'm aiming to be in. But I couldn't say how true that is. With industrialization, it's so sad to watch which once dominated the entire earth be like turned into concrete. And there's benefits, of course, to industrialization. We wouldn't be here without it. But just the importance of also realizing that we need to replant every tree we take down, maybe in a different place. But back in the old day, they also had a saying, you take one tree down, you plant five. And I feel like that's something that we definitely could benefit from.
Yeah, absolutely. And it all brings in this nature aspect with how blessed we are to be in this beautiful world. Because I'm looking out the window right now and I see a squirrel running around. It's just those simple things like that to just soak in those little moments and just especially watch animals out in nature, how they just go about their days naturally and they don't have to worry about any stress of assignments coming up or deadlines coming up with work.
Oh, I envy that. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Paige, I think we'll wrap it up here. So thank you so much for agreeing to come on and express your love for nature. And I can't wait to go on that nature walk with you.
Yes, for sure. I can't wait to. Thanks for letting me be a little nature nut for a little bit. It was a nice break from assignments.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation that I had with Paige, but most importantly, I hope you recognized how beautiful the world is. So that has to be the positive point of the podcast for this episode, to soak in the sunshine. In the midst of a worldwide pandemic where everything has been turned upside down, one thing has been left unchanged: nature. We still have that opportunity to go out and get some fresh air, but most importantly, escape from our stressed lives. One thing that I have recognized in my own personal life and the lives of others is that a walk or a hike through a timber is sometimes the greatest stress reliever or form of meditation that a person can have. For me, it's hard to describe how wonderful the natural world around us is because I've always thought of it like that. I haven't had an aha moment where everything's clicked. For me, it's always been clicking. But I want to try to inspire others to make that click happen because there are some jaw-dropping sights all around us that our eyes are waiting to see. Whether it's the mountains of Colorado or the beaches of Florida or even the endless farmland here in Iowa. We are blessed to live in this world because there are literally countless signs that are waiting to be seen. Of course, we know about the pictures of breathtaking places around the world, but those same breathtaking moments are right outside our doors, just waiting to be seen. Even if you live in a city, there's an opportunity for you to explore and get lost in the wilderness. It's all around us. Sometimes when we're lost, we're actually found because we place ourselves in the elements. We lean on every bit of our own abilities to dig deeper than we've ever had to discover new paths. So I challenge you to find a new path, literally and figuratively. Maybe when you're wandering through some timber, $1 million idea will come across your mind. It's when we get away from the world that we're accustomed to that we're able to discover new roads. Take the opportunity to soak up the sunshine in your life. Not only will it help you de-stress and escape from the craziness of your world, but it could lead you down a path you would have never thought of taking. Nature is beautiful, so take the chance to go out and experience that. This week, I challenge you to go on a walk or a hike to soak in the sunshine around you. Take time to step back in your life and reflect, but most importantly, take time to step back and truly see the beauty that is around you. Maybe it's the mountains or a creek or potentially a lake, or even the endless amounts of farmland. Take some time to soak in and remind yourself how lucky you are to live in such a world. Also, check out some of the pictures I've captured and posted on my social media pages. I have a couple on my Instagram at jtigus_20, but I have over 800, some bad and some good, in an album on my Facebook page at jtigus20.
I hope you enjoyed this episode, and as always, feel free to DM me on Twitter at thepositivepoi2. That's the positive POI2, or Instagram at thepositivepoint_podcast, or send an email to thepositivepointpodcast@gmail.com to share a random act of kindness or uplifting deed that you did for someone else, or they did for you, or maybe it's something you saw someone else do for another person. Reach out to me and share the story. Who knows? Maybe you will be the next positive point of the podcast. Until next time, this is Joshua Tigas. And remember, keep it positive.